Good day, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank for this invitation for the Game Changers Day. It's an honor to have the possibility of sharing with you all. My name is Víctor Ávila Akerberg, and I want to tell you about the so-called water forest, a very important region that surrounds Mexico City and that is responsible for securing water provision and many other ecosystem benefits. Mexico is a medium-sized country compared to South Africa, is about 2 times bigger, and it has more than 130 million people, from which almost a fourth part live in central Mexico inside the megalopolis. Mexico City has suffered from abrupt changes in its landscape. Since the beginning of colonial times, what it used to be five interconnected lakes changed into the expansion of the Aztec Empire to one of the most populated cities in the world. What it was an original endorheic or closed watershed limited by the red line you can see in the map, transformed into an open one. Though fertile soils, vast resources, and the remaining forest cover makes it possible for the urban area to persist. This is how the Great Tenochtitlan or the Aztec Empire, now Mexico City, looked like 5 centuries ago. The water forest is a mountain region that surrounds the capital and is responsible for securing water provision to more than 25 million people. Gauteng province in South Africa has around 16 million, but it also possesses enormous biodiversity and a vast traditional ecological knowledge inside different indigenous groups. Most of the 250,000 hectares of the water forest are protected, but this has not been able to completely stop land use change, deforestation, forest fires, etc. It is also the head of three of the main watersheds in the country, so it connects and influences bigger territories, draining water all the way down into the Atlantic or the Pacific Oceans. Rain inside the water forest is more than double the rain in the city, with up to 1,500 liters per square meter and year in average, compared to the 700 to 800 liters in the city. When it rains in Mexico City, up to 70 to 90% of the water can go back to the atmosphere due to evaporation or evapotranspiration. The rest of the 10 to 30% of rainwater mixes with sewage, making it more difficult to treat for human consumption. Rain in the water forest promotes up to 60% of rainwater to infiltrate and run off. And so water provision happens as it recharges Mexico City's ground aquifers, which still provide more than 70% of the water demand in the metropolitan area of the city. Biodiversity inside the water forest is enormous, with at least 10 to 15% of the total flora, fauna, and fungal diversity of Mexico, the majority of which is endemic due to its location inside the Mexican transvolcanic belt, a high-altitude mountain chain, difficult for animals or plants to cross and move to other countries. This biodiversity is stored inside different high-altitude ecosystems that go from 2,200 meters up to almost 4,000 meters above sea level, like conifer and oak forests, grasslands, water bodies, and traditional croplands, our so-called milpas, which are polydiverse maize fields. A few examples of the flora of the region. This collage has 54 species, so you can imagine how it would be the complete one with more than 2,946 more plants. Fungi are also very diverse, many of which are edible. Mammal species are also diverse, with an enormous variety of rodents and bats, like these ones, very important biological controls, eating millions of insects each night, as well as excellent pollinators, like the one in this image. Without this bat, no tequila, no mezcal or pulque, which is a Mexican fermented drink produced from the sap of agaves. Birds are also a diverse group. From the total 1,100 species in Mexico, inside the water forest, there are at least 355 species, which represent more than a third of the total bird fauna. Beautiful but polemic reptiles and amphibians are also part of the water forest biodiversity, with snakes, frogs, salamanders, lizards, and axolotls. Axolotls are fantastic salamanders, able to breathe underwater and regenerate almost any part of their bodies. In Mexico, we have 17 species, and as you can see, their colors are in different dark tones, green, yellow, brown, red. So if you see a white or a pink one, they are albino or leucistic. They are not common in the wild. They are common in aquariums. Inside the water forest, there is one microendemic species, the so-called mountain stream axolotl, which is an excellent bioindicator of water quality and an excellent model to promote water conservation. We just produced a recent documentary, which is called Batsy, the axolotl and its reflection. If you want to know more about this species, the water forest, and the Otomis, one of the main indigenous groups of the area, you can scan and see this documentary. By the way, Batsy in the Otomi language means child or young animal. Their cosmovision does not distinguish between humans and non-humans. Poisonous biodiversity of the water forest is low compared to the huge number of species, and it is mainly represented by some rattlesnakes and a couple of spiders. Main environmental problems of the water forest are related to land use change and deforestation, but also water pollution and urban expansion. Illegal exploitation of soil is also common, and this is to satisfy its demand for gardens and plant pots in the city. Illegal logging is one of the main problems, and this, of course, reduces the potential for water capture, infiltration, and provision. In average, the trees that are being cut, they have between 70 to 120 years old. So, of course, it will take a lot of time to recover this forest structure. Inadequate afforestation still happens, planting trees where there should not be. Luckily, Mexico is now pushing towards a formal agenda focusing on ecosystem restoration and nature-based solutions. In my opinion, we should also push forward towards a more integrative evaluation of nature, like the one posed by the concept of nature contributions to people, NCPs, which also recognizes and stresses intrinsic and relational values. Poor wastewater treatment is still common. Mexico City will not be able to satisfy the water demand to all in its inhabitants if water reuse, forest and wetland restoration is enforced. What can we do? We should get involved. We should get to know our communities and regions better. Let's keep promoting environmental education to kids and teenagers. Don't buy illegal resources. Without demand, no market. Let's plan for restoration. We should plant and put proper species in their proper places. And we should stop consuming whatever. We should focus our consumption on needs and not desires. Youth environmental education should be a way to promote different ways of valuation with a sense of belonging. We should continue these kind of efforts. As I mentioned before, the polling of the water forest is around 250,000 hectares and provides water to more than 25 million people. But we could think about a bigger version like the one in the image with over 1.2 million hectares, which will secure water for more than 35 million people. We believe that this area should be declared as national security, biocultural, and water reserves, prioritizing proper public policies towards indigenous people for doing restoration and sustainable use. This is a documentary of the water forest in English. Again, if you want to see it, you just have to scan the QR code. And that would be it from my side. I want to thank you for your attention, and I want to send you my warmest greetings from the water forest of Mexico City.